Hi, and welcome to the Crafty Librarian YouTube channel, where I politely question, well, just about everything. I'm really glad you're here. It's my first time doing these kind of videos, so if you saw my first one, thank you for coming back and sticking with me. I'm still figuring this out. This is officially video number 2. So let me kind of tell you about what's been going on my mind recently. I was in a meeting the other day with a group of librarians, and we were reviewing the results of a survey that our group had taken about AI, specifically how important it is and how important it is being attached to our electronic resources and databases. And the results were interesting. Most of the responses on the survey indicated that AI was either not very important or only moderately important to librarians. And on the surface, that sounds a little alarming. It sounds like librarians are behind the curve, or that we're going, na, 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 like we're ignoring what's coming, or we're like anti-technology. But that's not really what's happening, at least from my perspective and from the discussion and the things that I am thinking. That's not what is happening. We are constant. I can't tell you how many calls and emails I am getting from library vendors, database vendors, e-journal vendors, people who are not associated with vendors, all pushing their AI product. They'll be like, oh, our search now includes AI, or it is insert vendor name AI, or insert database AI. And it's kind of just tiring. Because once we get past the survey's results, it's more like we're not anti-AI. We're just increasingly skeptical of how AI is really being implemented in these tools, especially ones that we're paying for or that we're told we have to have in the system. And I think that's the big difference. What we don't want is that AI is just slapped on the tool, which quite frankly is a lot of products, or it feels like a lot of products. Despite the slick demos that the AI-powered labels, it still feels like it's the same product, but with maybe a chatbot or an LLM stuck onto the search box. And the bigger issue is we really don't know what we're getting with this AI. How is it influencing the searches? How is it generating the summaries that it's getting? How is it ranking or re-ranking the results? Is it pulling from the full text, or is it just pulling from the metadata? And if it's pulling from the full text, whose full text is it pulling from? Where is it pulling from? Vendors might tell us what it's doing, but there's often very little independent, transparent evidence showing what is actually how it's actually performing the way it claims. And in some cases, these tools are only available to certain user groups, like, say, people who have MPIs, while librarians who have pretty much been finding and evaluating literature since, 3rd century BC in Alexandria, are completely left out of the conversation, completely left out of the kicking the tires thing, and not thought of as anywhere in the equation, which is, in my opinion, obviously it's biased because I'm a librarian, but in my opinion, that is a disservice. Well, that's really glowing there, so we'll just put that so it's not distracting. So at some point, AI starts to feel less like innovation and more like a marketing tactic, or a slick paint job, or like that auto start that is on our cars that we really don't want, but is on there and it's forced on there, and we're told it's supposed to improve fuel efficiency, but really it just drives us batty when we're at the stoplight. What librarians actually want is thoughtful integration. We want AI that genuinely improves discovery, respects the complexity of our collections. I get e-journals, e-books, e-databases, all these kind of things from multiple vendors. And we don't want something that actually only searches a subset of that stuff, that quietly introduces more limitations while claiming to solve problems that are still there, but are masked. One of the biggest issues is that I'm talking about is siloing. We're seeing AI tools that don't have equal access to all the content within the platform. They may index or search the titles and abstracts across for everything, but when it comes to the full text, they're only searching and only limited to the contents that's owned by the vendor. So how does that work? How is the AI treating that? The AI is pulling deeply from one publisher's set of full text while only lightly skimming through or looking at the full text. Not the full text, the titles, the abstracts, the metadata of all the other publishers. And that creates a huge imbalance. It directly shapes the answers that the AI gives. Because let's remember, these AIs, these LLMs, they are statistical programs. When you break it down to the very, very bottom of it, they are programs that look at predictions of words in the body of content. So if you're not giving it all of the full content, then the algorithm and the prediction of the words and the retrieval will be impacted. And that imbalance and that impact directly shapes the answers it gives. Let's not kid ourselves that. So it's not really a broad discovery. It's more like the best available answer based on what the AI is allowed to search. And that's a bit of a problem, because from a librarian perspective, we've spent decades pushing the opposite direction. We've been pushing so humans can actually see, compare, evaluate full range of information. We have spent decades trying to break down silos. I would say not just decades, centuries, because we talk about the silos of electronic resource information and how one publisher only will let you search this content and another publisher will only let you search this content. That's no different than having a book on one side, a book on the shelf, and this book on the shelf. The books aren't sharing their content, they're print books. When we got online, it made it more possible, but it also reflected now other problems. And AI is just another evolution of that. And I kind of explained like this siloization of the AI content and how it's only searching the full text of other resources of its proprietary resources and not the other resources is like, imagine going into PubMed and behind the scenes, it's only allowed to search part of Medline. But it never tells you that. Everything looks normal. The results look awesome, incredible, but you're only seeing part of the evidence. That's what I feel like we're seeing with AI, a lot of these AI products. It feels comprehensive, but it's not. It feels authoritative, but it's uneven. And unless you really understand how it works, you don't even know what you're missing. And for clinicians, researchers, and students, that is not a small issue. So another part of the problem that we are running into is control. And I get it. All of these companies, they have their own AI. They do not want to share the secret sauce because they don't want somebody else stealing or making a better AI, that kind of stuff. But librarians have very little say in how these tools function. I don't care about your secret sauce. I want the secret sauce to work, but I want to know what the secret sauce contains. I don't care if it contains the exact amount, but I need to know what it contains so I know what allergies we have. In many cases, these AI systems, we know very little about them. Sorry, guys who are selling them. You don't know as much as you say you do. And we're expected to pay additional for them. And even then, we don't always have it searching and knowing what it's doing. And it's shaping the results, actively shaping the results based on what the AI can see versus what it can't. And so that leads to bigger issue, the proprietary nature of AI right now. Every vendor has their own AI, every model, and everyone has their own model. They all have their own interface and they all have their own rules, and they all have the specific unique subset of what they search. you know what? We used to just all go to PubMed and it was just, hey, who's got the better way of searching PubMed? Now we are going, who's searching the full text? Some are locked behind firewalls. Well, this own publisher's only searching this group of publishers full text, but not everybody else's. It's only doing the titles and the abstracts and the metadata. Oh, is it searching preprints like Biomed Archive? Whoa, pump the brakes. Do we know if that's good stuff or not? Has that been stuff that's been vetted? Does that stuff look legit but is actually wrong and influencing the AI? Those are the things that I am talking about. And that's a mess. And from a user's perspective, they don't realize all of those things behind it. They don't realize all of these different things that are going on behind the scenes. That what they assume the AI is finally pulling everything under the sun, the one ring to rule them all. They are believing that it is pulling it all together and giving them a complete and reliable answer. But behind the scenes, we librarians know that that is not always true. And there's the tension. Because we don't think like in silos, because humans don't think in silos, our users don't think in silos, and we expect access to everything to be available to us, we fall for AI. And AI reinforces those boundaries, but behind the scenes and subtly, and it feels like we're moving backwards. Now, be fair, some of the complications, which I haven't even touched on, and there's a lot of complications like licensing, copyright, business models. Those are all very real constraints. And I'm not saying we should just throw the baby out with the bathwater or we should open everything up so we ignore those things. But we need to go into these things with eyes wide open to understand what is happening so we can make these AI programs better to deal with these constraints. We're not asking, does this have AI? We're asking, what does the AI actually do? And most importantly, what does it leave out? And can we trust it enough to put it on in front of our users? And those are very different questions than, is AI important for you when you're evaluating databases? In my opinion, that's not the question. The question we need to be asking are the right ones about what does it do, how does it do it, and can we trust it? So when librarians say AI isn't their top priority, I really actually don't hear resistance. I hear skepticism. I hear a profession that has seen plenty of the next big thing. And you know what? Think about our ILS systems. They were supposed to transform discovery, and yet here we are. Amazon is still kicking our butts on how to find anything under the sun. Our ILSs still are just junk. I'm sorry, they're very expensive junk. And so we've learned to be skeptical for a reason. And what actually I want is pretty straightforward. We want transparency, interoperability, and more control. And what we want AI to broaden access, not just reshape it to make it easier to use. So no, I don't think librarians are anti-AI. We're just not impressed yet. Thanks for watching, and please hit the subscribe button and please hit that thumbs up like button so that we can all find the videos and learn from each other, and put comments in there to see what else you want to hear from. Thanks.